Hi everyone, Jana with Purple Girl Crafts. Today I'm going to show you how to make this bendy card. This one's got two little piggies and he's playing in his pig pen. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to pull out our scoreboard. And we're going to need one piece that is cut at 11 inches by 5 inches, and then we are going to score at 5.5 on the 11-inch side. Then we are going to need 3 pieces, and these are cut at 5.25 by 4.75. And again, we're going to need 3 of those, one for the front of the card and then 2 for the inside. And then we are going to need one piece that is 2.75 square. And we are going to need one piece that is 5.25 by 1.25. And then we're going to need a piece that is 4.75 by 1 inch. And then we are going to score it at the 1/2 inch mark on one end. And then go ahead and crease that out. And this is going to be for the mechanism on the inside of the card. Now to make this easier, this is the end result that we're going to have. So you're going to need a piece of paper that is cut at 5 by 3 inches. So I'm going to grab a different piece of paper so I can show you the easiest way to cut this. So on the 5-inch side, we are going to score this at 1 inch and 4 inches. And so you should just have those 2 lines right now. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take this and we're going to turn the paper and we're going to score it again. So we're going to go on the 3-inch side and we're going to score at 1 inch and 2 inches. And we're going to do that on both ends that we just put the score marks on. So your 2 ends should end up with 3 parts on each side. Now what we're going to do is we're going to cut away the sections that we don't need. So where I'm going to put an X, this is where we are going to get rid of the paper. So we're going to cut it out there on this section and this section. So again, where the 3 X's are, this is what we are going to cut away. And then we're going to leave the 3 that are not X'd out. Now I'm going back to the piece that I'm going to use, and then you're going to want to crease those down and fold those flaps in. And then you want to fold those flaps. So we don't need this piece. This was just an example to show you. So now we're going to go ahead and we're going to glue the 2 pieces on the inside of the card of our pattern paper. You can use tape if you want, or you can use glue. It doesn't really matter. So I'm just going to glue these down. So that'll be the inside. Now we're going to start working on the mechanism. So on the piece that we had just cut, this is going to be the mechanism part, but we need the slider piece that goes on it. So as you can see, when this will bend. So this piece that we had cut earlier that had the 1/2 inch score mark on it, we are going to glue it on the side that is not scored to the one single flap. And you want to make sure that it does clear the other 2 flaps. So I'm just laying here just to see where I want to position it. So let me grab my glue. And we're going to glue this down. Now you could use 1 sheet of paper. I like the added strength it gives because that is the pull tab. So by putting another piece of paper on there, you're adding strength to it. So I'm going to glue this so that the pattern is facing up. I'm gluing it to the 1 tab only. And I am gluing it so that the fold is facing down. And then we'll just glue this down. But you want to also, again, just double check it to make sure it clears the tabs. And mine isn't, so I'm going to actually cut away a little piece of this. So I'm just going to grab my scissors really quick, and we're just going to just slightly cut just a tiny section of the flap away, just to make sure that it clears and it doesn't hang up on it. And I'm going to put this lower on the card because I've got the little pigs that are going to be on it. So you just want to lay this down, put glue on the flap, and then close the card on itself. And then just rub that glue in. I'm just making sure it's going to be glued down before we do any more gluing. Make sure it's even and straight. So now we're going to glue this front piece on. You probably don't want to do this when you're making your card. It adds too much weight to the card, but I had already done it and I had my theme going, but it just doesn't let the bendy part of the card, it's not as flexible. It still works, I just don't think it's not working as good as it could. So I'm just going to make sure that's glued down. And so now I'm going to put my pig in here, and I want him just hanging out of the top of the barrel. But I also want to make sure he's not hanging over the top of the card. So he is hanging over the top of the card. So I'm going to cut slits in his arms just a little bit further so that he will go a little bit lower on the barrel. So as I position him, you just want, like I said, make sure he's not hanging over the edge, and he still is, so we're just going to cut his arm a little bit more. There, much better. Now he'll be in the card. I'm going to flip this over, and I'm just going to glue him down. And you can wait and decorate when you're done, but sometimes it's easier to do it when you have full access to where you're gluing. So I'm just going to make sure he's not sticking out again, and then I'm just going to push him down. And remove any excess glue. And then we'll put another piggy off to the side. Okay, so now I'm going to glue the two flaps down. And this is where the tricky part comes in, because you really do need a mechanism, and I'll show you that in the middle, that holds it down. But it's hard to place it now. It's almost you have to place it after you glue this down. So it gets a little tricky. But just bear with me and we'll work through it. So I'm just going to press this glue down on these. And then I'm going to glue the inside piggy, and he's not going to stay down because the mechanism is now glued down. As you can see, it just starts bending. So as I glue this other piggy on, just going to place him about there. So now we do need one piece of paper that's going to hold this mechanism down, because he will tend to fold up. So I just cut a piece that's about 3/4 of an inch wide, and we're going to set it inside of here so that when the card opens, it helps to keep the right side of the mechanism down. So we're just going to glue this in so it just kind of sits right there, as I kind of trying to show you. I know it's hard to see. So I'm going to put glue on this, and this piece is probably about 1.25 inches long and about 1/2 inch wide. So I'm going to put it underneath the mechanism and just that one bar and just right about here, just a little bit over it, and then I'm just going to put it in there, make sure it's even, and then I'm just going to push it down. Now again, you could put this on first if you wanted to, when you first put that on the card, just to make sure that it does fold and it does curve in. And really make sure that this is glued down, because this is going to be the part that will keep the card, the mechanism working. And it just, at a point, you just have to say enough is enough and just stop. But that's how it should look. So it will curve up just a little bit. Now we're going to glue the front pattern paper onto the front of the card. Make sure it's lined up. And then I have this little saying, take time to play. And I just used the Brother label maker. And then we're going to put a piggy on the front and another one underneath, again with his arm out on the card. So I like the way those sit right there. I think I'm going to put glue dots on this piggy here. So I'm going to fast forward this, speed through this, and glue all of this down. Well, that's our card. I hope you enjoyed making this card with me today. It is a bendy card. I do know that there were some complications with the inside mechanism, so go ahead and try it if you want to glue it down first. Everybody makes cards differently. This was easier for me to do it this way, but I really appreciate you subscribing to my channel. If you haven't, please do so. Please have a great day, and I will see you next time with another great creation. Bye-bye.